you want to come round? Fucking hell, it's so good to be here, isn't it? It's great, isn't it? That feeling in the morning when you wake up and you think, what the fuck am I doing this for? And then you get down here and you think, I know why I'm here. I always know why I'm here. Did everybody get a chance to read? It was a difficult book. It was a difficult book, but that's deliberate, you know. And if it made you angry because it was difficult, even better. You know, this is not about being comfortable. This is about stretching. It's about expanding. And sometimes you need to read books that even if you don't understand them, it'll be in there. You know, when Dylan first went to New York, he read Milton, he read Blake. This is Bob Dylan. Read Milton, Blake, Dante, all the greats. Didn't understand a fucking word of it. And then a few years later, he came back and he wrote amazing songs. And his girlfriend said, this is pure poetry. What does it mean? He says, I haven't got a fucking clue. But what goes in is what comes out. So I'm aware that Hero of a Thousand Faces is a difficult read. The next read is The Power of Now. Some of you may have read it. It's by a guy called Eckhart Tolle. It's a thin book. It's an easy to read book. It's a challenging book because it will jar you a little bit, which is good. It's what I want. That's a good way of bringing shadows out. So The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. Anyone got any notes, good or bad, on The Hero of a Thousand Faces?
I didn't like the style of writing.
Didn't like it?
I didn't like his introduction. I must admit, I haven't read it all yet.
Yeah.
I haven't even coloured in most of the pictures.
No.
But
you joined the dots, that's the main thing.
I didn't like his style of writing. I found it quite challenging. He was very academic in the way in which he was trying to put over his ideas. But I thought some of the language in the myths and fables that he was talking about was absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Absolutely beautiful.
Most of the great story writers in the world refer to that book. It's all about archetypes, it's all about taking a journey, going through difficult times and bringing back the elixir. And that's when you've got elixir, you can stand in a hall and draw people from across the globe, or write a book. Wherever you go, you'll form a crowd, because when you have elixir, people want that. People will cross the globe to touch the hand of experience. It's about sapience, what Milton called sapience, which is tasting, to taste, not to know or to read or to have an academic understanding, but to taste, to actually go out and experience. So when I first started with Animal Days and talking about reality and preemption and fear, you know, I had a lot of opposition. People hated me, you know, and that's very difficult to believe or know. But, you know, there was a lot of controversy in the martial arts about it. But every time it got really difficult and people were calling me a cockroach in the magazine and stuff like that, you know, people were really offended by it. But I knew that was good, because that obviously triggered shadows in them. My job is to trigger shadows and bring them out so that you can look at them and you can get rid of them and dissolve them. But it was a very difficult time for me, but I just kept coming back to the centre and thinking, is what I'm saying true? And it was true. It was true for me. It's what I'd experienced. It's what I'd gone out and tasted. And I'd tasted not once, but tens of thousands of times. I was working 6 nights a week in a city, you know, that was polled as the most violent in Europe. So I had a massive amount of experience. I was 11 stone, and I was articulate, soft-spoken. I had a bit of hair. People normally thought I was a glass collector, because I used to wear a flat cap and a cardigan and sit and read my magazine with a cup of coffee and a bag of nuts. So people said, you know, thought I was a glass collector, until I knocked their 20-stone mate out for being a cheeky fucker. And then I was no longer a glass collector. So, but, you know, so I wasn't like the archetypal doorman, so I did draw a lot, until I built a reputation, which was like, that's him, keep out of his fucking way, he's a psychopath. Till I built up a reputation, you know, I had a lot of people challenging me pretty much every night. So you get a lot of experience very quickly, and you learn what works and what doesn't, because what works enables you to walk away, and what doesn't gets you sent to the A&E, or worse. It's as simple as that, you know, people threatening to kill you, people trying to kill you. You know, 4 of my friends were murdered. When I always say that, it always sounds like I'm exaggerating, but, you know, murder is murder, isn't it? 4 of them were murdered. You know, and same, we've got Alan Peasland here with us today. As you know, Alan's been helping me teach the Masterclass. Alan did about 7 years in Coventry. It's a fucking violent city, you know. It's a base language, and it's a language that the Coventry speaks very well. So you get sapience, you get experience that has taste. And that's, you know, that's what the Joseph Campbell book was all about, The Hero of a Thousand Faces, is about going out and getting experience, which is why I love all you lot, because that's what you're doing. You're not sat at home on a Sunday morning wanking off. You know, you're here getting experience. You know, Dante said that your fame is waiting. You need to rouse yourself. You're not going to find it from a cushion or from your bed. You're not going to find it with comfort. You need to be doing difficult things. And difficult things are not just difficult for you, they're difficult for me. Like I've got this today, I've got a screening of a film on Tuesday where I've got to do a talk. You know, I've got a script that I've been hiding away from for 2 weeks because I don't want to sit and start it. I've been doing lots of other things that are difficult but easy. So, you know, there's always things in my life challenging me every single day. I've trained every day of my life, that's a challenge. You know, it's a bit like, for me, it's a bit like getting up and cleaning my teeth. It's something I just do automatically, but it still doesn't mean it's not, you know, it's not easy, it's very hard. So you're not on your own with that. It's not like I've got to a place where that doesn't scare me anymore, but what I do is I go towards situations that bring out shadows, and when the shadows come out, I dissolve them. I look at them, I observe them as being separate from me, and I dissolve them. And the great thing about doing films at the moment is that I know that I'm going to create a polarity. Romans 12:20, which I'm inviting you all to come and watch on Tuesday, and you can bring a friend or bring a couple of friends if you want. If you want to come along, you're more than welcome. And the great thing about it is that you may like it and you may not. But that's good for me because, you know, I want you all to like it. I want you all to like me. But by placing stuff out there that I know will draw a polarity, it forces that shadow out. That shadow that wants to be liked can't be liked by everybody. It's impossible. But also the film is saying that we should forgive paedophiles. That's what the film is saying. Now that's a hugely controversial thing to say. What it's actually saying is we shouldn't forgive paedophiles, we should forgive everybody. Because that's fucking power. That's the power to let go of everything. That's the power to be impervious to everything that's ever happened to you. Now that's what I'm putting out. It's gone out into the world and it's going to be global. This film will be global. It's already been picked up by Rhode Island Festival and they love it so much they're doing a feature of it. And this is a feature about, this is based on a story, on something that happened to me. If you've read Watch My Back, you know the story about the sexual abuse and all that. I developed massive power by forgiving the guy that sexually abused me. And that's what the film is saying. It's not saying that you should do that, it's just saying this is what I've learned. This is a level of power that makes me impervious to my past experiences. In fact, I can throw a pail back into that experience, draw it out, and write a film that's fit for Oscar. It's actually fit for the Oscars. This film is beautiful. It's got about £300,000 worth of work in it. That was all done free because people loved it. But they don't know why they loved it. Because who wants to forgive paedophiles? Who wants to forgive murderers? Who wants to do all that? What I'm saying to you is that this level of grudge is kind of in the sediment round here, and we need to lift ourselves above that. That's what they call a siddhi, one of the miracles. In Hinduism, they call it a siddhi. And the siddhi is the ability to create miracles. And creating miracles this is a miracle here today. This course having been created by each of you is a miracle. You've taken something from nothing and created it. You've come down from Scotland or Ireland or Belgium or, you know, Tile Hill, wherever you've come from, and you've created a miracle. You've taken something from nothing and made it actual. One of the big siddhis is forgiveness. And forgiveness isn't about letting people off, because you can't let people off, because there is a karmic return. So everybody has to pay for everything they do. Everybody, me, you, all of us. So the guy that sexually abused me, you know, he doesn't need my forgiveness. I need to forgive him so I can separate myself from the equation, move on with my life. That's power, because it's really quite juicy to think I'll find him and I'll fuck him. I'll jump on his fucking legs. That's how it feels. That's how and that's quite juicy. That's quite easy to get into, isn't it? And you say to people, I'm going to find that guy and I'm going to fucking kill him. And they all say, yeah, let's fucking kill him because he's a paedophile and he's a piece of shit. But actually, he's not as a human being. And he's a man that has wasted an incarnation. He was a guy that was hugely talented who wasted it because of an addiction, because of a vice. And if I don't allow myself to forgive everybody, not just him, but everybody that does anything to me, I become their puppets. So somebody that abused me 20 years ago, if I don't let that go, he's still doing this with me, just prodding me and I go, You know, it's like what Patricia Cornwall called a pilot light of anger. What is it called? Yeah, pilot light of anger. And someone comes along and goes like that, and you go, and you're like a fucking puppet. Someone comes along and beeps the car, you're like, you know, and then you come back down again. So we can't be puppets. What I need to do is have that pilot light and allow it to inflame and create stuff in my life. So I can take that and create a beautiful film, or a beautiful life, or a book, or a seminar, or a DVD. I can create anything I want with that massive emotion. Is that making sense so far? Because I don't want, you know, we've got to get away from the whole thing about, yeah, but won't they get away with stuff? Nobody gets away with anything. Everything that goes out returns, everything. And there is no right or wrong. People do stuff and there's a consequence, that's it. You know, we don't need to get into the judgment of right or wrong. There's a consequence to every action. So the guy that sexually abused me hung himself. It finally caught up with him after 25 years. 25 years people said, yeah, but he's getting away with it. And I said, nobody gets away with anything. And then he hung himself, just before we made this film, funnily enough. So, if we're talking power, and we're talking self-defense, we're talking about power over the self, and self-defense against the self, or the selves, the shadows.
Jeff, can I ask how you feel about it?
How I feel about?
The guy that hung himself.
I felt really sad, actually. I felt...
Is that because you forgave him?
Yeah, because I actually loved him. I know that sounds weird, but I actually loved him. I'd gone into my meditation so much that all I saw was this guy that had wasted a life. I've done it with 2 or 3 people that have really, really troubled me, and I've gone into deep meditation with it in prayer, and gone into it and found a place and thought, and I see them, I go through the layers. I go through the layers of vice, the layers of addiction, the layers of aggression, go through all the shadows, and you go right back to the soul, and you see a real person, you see a real soul. So then when they do that, you don't have any feeling of, you know, that's great, you just think it's really sad, you know, it's just really sad because this guy could have been great, you know. So anyway, coming back to what did anybody get? I'm gathering that some of you haven't read it, so you've got to try and get it by next month. Anybody got any comments?
It just felt like I couldn't absorb it.
You couldn't absorb it?
I know I probably did, like you said, it goes in.
It will go in.
I thought, what have I just read? It just didn't.
Yeah, the good thing about that is, that's a really good point. The big thing I learned from Bob Dylan reading his book was that you don't always have to understand it, but just know that if it goes in, it's in there. Anyone else get anything from the book as well?
One for me was about, you speak about flirting with your addictions in one of your podcasts, and then it was when the devil was trying to tempt St Bernard.
When what?
When the devil was trying to tempt St Bernard with all these beautiful women.
Yeah.
You know, and he didn't give in.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was
all these,
that was,
yeah. It's there all the time, there's stuff all the time trying to pull you off the track, trying to tempt you.
They never gave in.
I keep practicing with the beautiful women. I mean, I fail pretty much every night, but you know, I'm trying, you know what I'm saying? So when Sharon finds me with loads of beautiful women, I say, I'm just fucking training, Shaz. Just training. Bearing in mind what we said last month, can have a volunteer to warm up.
Yep.
Okay, so if we do that again, can we make sure, you want to get into the habit, put your hand up, volunteer for everything. One thing I've learned throughout the years is that you volunteer for everything. If you volunteer for everything, you get massive experience. It's sapience on a big level. So volunteer for everything. The more times you're out the front here, the more the experience will expand. And remember, we're all on a level here, you know, so there's no instructors, there's no high grade, low grade. This is just people coming together to step out the front. Everything I've ever done, I always be out the front, even though I'm scared, because I want to be out there and experience it. And then after you've done that once, it just gets easier and easier. So if we can have a warm up, that'd be great. Thank you. Just have a little, just light pulling, keep it nice and light, just try and get the flow going if you can, okay? We're just fighting for grip. When you're ready? the key with wrestling is keeping it really, is you keep that kind of, keep your balance really low there, you know. And if we're using gis, you start coming to here, this way. See? So, it's getting comfortable with this, that's all we're trying to do, get comfortable. And you're getting it so that you're learning to bring your elbow in to block, or you can bring this arm in here to block, stop them coming forward if they want to come underneath the hooks, stop them doing that. But the main thing is that you're trying to dominate grip here, that's what you're initially trying to do. Coming from here, and then as they move inside you, you're just moving back and forward with them. But the key is that as soon as you've got that grip, you start going for a throw, or for a snatch, okay? So at the moment we're fighting for grip, here, and one of you might dominate or you get the grip here. Once you've got that, you know, he's going to try and fight out of it. But the moment I've got that, boom, I'm going to start hitting legs, just start kicking, pulling, and start going for my throw. So I'm not going to give him a chance to get into it. As soon as I'm there, I'll start pulling him about. See what I mean? So I don't give him a chance to fight for grip. All he'll be able to do then is defend himself. So from there I've got the guillotine. So what we're going to do, we've done the throw, haven't we? We've done the Kouchi, haven't we? Did we do that last week or the week before?
Yeah.
So we're going to do a combination. What I normally do is I'll get a dominant grip here, boom, and just start, I'll attack the foot. I'll get him over once, really good, here. I'll get him really wary of that throw. Or I'll just kick the foot, just boot it. Now once I've got him wary of that, then I'll start tapping and pulling. So we're just going to go, so keep that solid for a sec, John. Tap, pull. Tap, pull. So what I'm doing is going to take his attention away from this. If I can, I'll try and boot it backwards a little bit, so his height goes down here, then straight in for the guillotine. And as I do it, I'll pull him into the arm. Sometimes I'll just do this. I'll jump up with it here, and then once I'm there, I've got this. I've got my pin, my throw and my pin, or I've got from here, just pulling him over, and then going for the floor work. So what we'll do first, let's just separate the snatch. This is from freestyle wrestling. So from a dominant grip, this leg comes up here and snatch and come high under the opposite armpit. And as soon as I'm there, swap arms. That's the guillotine there. That way. This way here. Straight under the throat. The main thing is that once I've got that hold. I'm there. And if I don't get the guillotine from it, I'm just going to snatch. And just pull him over. So we're going to come from the snatch to there. So right arm, left armpit. Has everyone got that? Have a little go. Thanks, John. Thank you. So the defence, you pull them in here, and the defence is just to straighten up immediately and come round. It's got to be immediate. As soon as it comes to there, straight up, tight, body's close. You know, because otherwise, once it's there, you know, you've obviously got the guillotine. A practice guy will kind of do his best to get out of that, but this is a bad position to be in, really bad. So the moment that touch is just up. That's it, the first thing, that's it. As soon as you get your head here, Lou. Right up, I mean he's strong anyway, I can feel he's strong, but get your head right up immediately. Yeah, it does. You've got to do it really quick though. So we're going to come from, get the snatch, come from here, and we're going to do a throw from it. It's not an easy throw, but you know, you need to commit yourself with it. You need to commit it when you do it. It's a throw I've used quite a lot. But again, I come from here, I've got to tie this arm off. Is that arm injured, John? Is it okay?
Yeah, well, it's okay.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit that arm, knock it into here, and tie it off. Can everyone see that? So it's tied off. That gives me, if you're really not sure about the throw, you know, you have a go at it, but if you're not sure of it, just do a snatch, because it does take full commitment to get the throw, and you don't want them, you know, don't want to injure people. You only injure people when you don't commit. So I'm going to tie that arm off here, and then I'm going to come between his legs here. I'm going to step through this foot here, so my right foot's going to come through. I'm leaning all my weight on him here. Then I'm coming down here. I've got my pin. If I want to see it through for the crank, I've got the crank. If I want to see it through for the pin, I've got the pin as well then. And of course I've got my kind of Machado stuff from there. So the key is from here, just knock that arm in, drop underneath, and you've got a really strong pin there. So does anybody, to show it once more, let's look at our line. So Johnny's legs are on that line, my legs are on that line. What I'm going to do is I'm going to step through, fall, and put my arm between his legs at the same time, this way. So I'm getting the momentum, so I'm going to bring him down as he comes up, come through with the throw. So if you come from here, this way, give me a wide stance, that's it. So you're coming from here, look. See, what you're doing is you're kind of coming through here, almost like a drop Shianagi. Gotcha. Whereas you just really want to go here. At the same time. Yeah, and just roll. Right, like that, and then I'm just going to basically sit down and put my hand right up to his belt here, watch. That way and roll. See. Sit. Beautiful. And then you roll with him. You roll with him till you end up on top of him. So what I like about this, so if we're wrestling for grip, okay, what do you think this is? Bullying, yeah, love, what else? If you're looking at platonic, sex can come in with platonic. What is it? If you're looking at philosophy, what would it be? Wing Chun, philosophy. Taoism. Yeah, Taoism. Giving way is Taoism. This is about non-resistance. And if I was here to teach you this as a form of grappling, I wouldn't be here, because it wouldn't be worth it for me, because we did this to death. Me and Alan have spent tens of thousands of hours becoming relaxed with this, so that there's no resistance. But this is what this is about life. This is about being Taoist in life. So it's about not resisting things in life. It's about looking at where life wants to take you and allowing it to go that way. So rather than rolling your sleeves up and trying to force things, it's about relaxing, listening, because the universe is speaking to you and going in the direction it wants you to go, which will get you where you need to be. Sometimes we see our line, don't we? We think, that's my goal there. And this is where I am, and I want to go there. And we think I can just go straight to the goal. When that's the cake we want there. So we want to go straight to the cake. The universe is saying to us, we want that cake, but you need ingredients. So we're going to give you a bit of this, and a little bit of that. We're going to take you right over to here, because there's something here you need to fetch. A little bit here. Yeah, you've been there. Like, you're still fucking there. I'm trying to drag you back from there. Then you come to here, and eventually you're back there, and then you get to your goal. But of course, when we're here, we're saying, this has got to do with my goal. This has got nothing to do with my goal. But this is where we need to be to pick up ingredients. This is where we need to be to release shadows. So what we do, rather than get here and think, fork ourselves back against nature to try and be back on that line, we allow ourselves to relax and we allow ourselves to be guided. We sit, we relax, we meditate, we mentate, and we allow ourselves to be guided. And if you allow yourself to be guided, then you have the power of the whole universe behind you. You have this universal power that will create miraculous things. Now, when we did Romans 12:20, we had no money, we had no cast. We had a fantastic script, of course, because I wrote it. It was an amazing, amazing script. The script came out in about 2 or 3 days because it came through me. I didn't resist it. It had my flavours, but I didn't write it. It came right through me. So I let it come out. And then we just trusted that all the things would fall into place. Of course, we did all the jobs. We phoned people up. We asked people to come and cast. We tried to get people to raise money. And we just trusted that it would all come together. A week before the shoot, we had no money, and we got our cast, but we got no dollar for it at all. And the lads wanted to cancel. I said, let's just keep moving forward, and God will bring it forward to us, whatever we need, whatever your perception of that is. Okay. So 2 days or 3 days before the shoot, we found a guy that raised £60,000 in one evening for this film because it was meant. So we had no resistance, all we had was faith. We moved towards our goal, we did what was put in front of us, and then we had faith that it would bring it together. All the editing was done free, the website was done free, the music was given to us free by Lisa Gerrard, who's an Oscar-winning musician. All the stuff come free because we trusted that it would, we had faith. And that's what you have to do with what you're doing. That's the same with this here. I'm not going to come here and be fucking like this, because the moment I get against a hod carrier, I'm going to lose.
Self-announcement, Andy to reception, that's Andy, thank you.
So, is Andy here? Hello. So, the moment I start using strength and panicking and trying to fight against this force, I will lose against stronger people all the time, and it will batter me. And life is the same. If you keep resisting things, life will batter you. All right? Because the forces are too strong. So what we do here, what we're learning here, is we're learning to be relaxed. And if you've ever worked with Matty, if you get a chance to work with Matty or work with Alan, and get him down to do stuff, you'll see the relaxedness here. This is what we're looking at doing. So wherever he's going, I'm not trying to resist it, I'm just trying to go where he's allowed me to go until I get what I want. Same within here. See, as soon as I've got that, he's not resisting it, he's just sliding underneath it. You just slide your head like you did there, Al, just sliding around it. That's what I mean. Or but what Matty does a lot is just puts his shoulders up so there's nothing to fucking grab. You're trying to grab a pea like that, like that. So this is what this is about. Same as restriction training is about developing power from nothing. This kind of floating, empty jacket training is about learning to relax. And when you learn to relax, your best game will come through. You won't see a throw, it will just happen, you'll just hit it. You won't see a hold on the floor, you'll just hit it. So the key with this is to do it so often that you become really relaxed with it. So that when you're in a situation in life and it's very difficult and you feel like rolling your sleeves up, you relax and you go with it and you find a way so that everybody wins. Everybody. So if you're angry or you're depressed or you're stressed or whatever you are, that energy is there. You've got to bring it through and create with it, and that's what we're doing here. So if you look at the reason why people love music is because they capture the energy. But I don't know, has anyone heard of The Enemy yet? Coventry group? Yeah, well the energy within that is really kind of, it's the pilot light. And in certain parts of the song you can feel it coming out, and that's why music is so powerful. Because it's taken a base energy. Look at someone like Ian Brown, takes a base energy, which is he's angry about the war in Iraq, We don't need to get into the politicking, but basically he's angry about it. So he creates a song. He takes this lump of stuff that most people get grounded by, because most people are grounded by these fears, and he creates something with it. It's like when Steve, who's doing the camera for this, got really frustrated about the film world, about no one noticing how good he is. So he goes out and he raises his own money and he makes an amazing film, and he does it himself. So he's taken that, what most people do, they have that energy, that anger, and they'll just sit there and procrastinate and blame him and blame her and blame them. It's the society, it's the government, it's God, it's all these different people. It's not, it's just a base energy that you can create with. And that's what we need to do. So we're taking this energy and we're not just going to create, we're going to fucking create prolifically. You go on my website and have a look. There is a prolific workload on there. And I find that I'm bringing energy through, but if I'm not creating with it, then it turns in on you. And you become root bound. And that's when you start to feel angry and depressed and down. And then it's everybody's fault. It's the whole world's fault. So we've got to take this energy, we've got to create with it. So if you listen to The Enemy, for instance, or Oasis, a good example, very angry, very powerful lyrics, but if you take away the meaning of the words, you're just left with energy, and you're left with something that's been created that lots of people can associate with. They know that energy, because the energy is God. So if you look at, I don't know, has everyone seen Brown Paper Bag? I did. Yeah. Do you know there's a bit in it where it goes, where the girl glasses the girl, and she goes, fuck you, fuck you. She does this real explosion. Now that's an example of somebody that has a massive amount of creative energy, but it's just splurting out and battering people. It's destroying people, because she's not creating with it. But that energy she has, if you haven't watched the film, watch it. And when she does that scene where she says, fuck you, that's me. I have that pilot light hovering here all the time, and it's very beautiful, because I take it and I create massive things with it. And I intend to go out and create global things with it, just to prove to people that you can take this energy and do what you want with it. But if you don't create with that energy, you know what it does? It grounds you. It keeps you stuck in the factory. Because you just say, no one is listening, I can't get out of there. People like us don't get a chance, we don't get a break. Poor old me, loads of self-pity, wanking off in the toilet on the self-pity, very angry at the world, and if only I had a chance. And that energy, of course, grows and grows and grows, and suddenly you've got somebody that fills a whole factory with this lower chakra energy. What we need to do is look at that reservoir of gold and create with it. Well, it's not gold, it's molten lead, and we have to take it and we have to be an alchemist and create something with it. The danger is, if you have ideas about creating stuff and you create the energy to create it, but you don't create it, you're left with the energy, and the energy is destructive. It's a very destructive energy. That's why loads of people have problems dying with stress and illness, because the energy turns in on you. You become root bound. So we've got to create with it, and to create with it, we can't associate with it, because a lot of this energy is fear, lots of fear. So we go to do something and we feel fear, so we pull back again. And then we beat ourselves up because we didn't go forward. We feel doubt. Who am I to do this? Who am I? Who the fuck am I to do that when he's doing this? And I used to think, who am I to do videos when Terry O'Neill's out there and when Frank Brennan's out there, and when, who am I to do DVDs on grappling when I'm training with Neil Adams or Rick Young? Yeah, but who am I not to? Because I can create something great with that energy, and if they don't want to create with it, that's up to them. I mean, I know Rick does, and there's a lot of people out there who have lots of stuff and they don't create with it because they're too busy thinking, why me? Why should I do it? And too much doubt, and they associate with the fear. So they're looking at it and they say fear, and that's them. It's not them, that's just energy. Take away the labels. That's why most creative people, they're either prolific or they're dead. They're either prolific or they're fucking whopping ears off with razor blades. They're either prolific or they're disturbed, because this energy is so powerful. You've got to do something with it. You can't take this energy, you can't have this energy and then fuck about with drugs and excesses, drink and all the stuff that people do, all the excesses, because it will just crush you. If you want to be a conduit for this stuff, then you need to be steel lined and you need to be this fucking thick. Not a garden hose, a fireman's hose, steel lined, so powerful that if you put the bore of water through a fireman's hose, it'll lift you off the floor. That's how powerful it is. We have to be powerful conduits. The amount of people I know who are brilliant, who are broken. I won't be broken because I won't allow that to happen, and you won't be either, because I'm telling you how it works. Take this big lot of energy, you've all got it, It's there, isn't it? Everyone can feel it. Fear, doubt, low self-esteem, jealousy, anger. You know, this propensity to violence. Sometimes I'm walking through the park and a part of me jumps out and starts attacking swans with my walking stick. So I rein him back in again and I go home and I create something beautiful with that energy. That's that one of my shadows saying to me, I'm fucking not busy enough. You're not doing enough. I'm here and you're not doing nothing with me. It's like kids with all this energy, they're doing nothing with it, so what do? They wreck stuff. They don't know how to do anything else with it. We have to take this energy, we have to create. So remember that energy, do something with it, otherwise you're just going to be a Manev sculpture stuck in a factory blaming the world for the fact that you aren't doing anything. Okay, grab a partner, just grab us, let me just sort this out, grab a set of pads. If you've got your own pads, use them, that's fine. Okay, so Craig's gonna do 10 minutes on the slap. He does a really good slap from a fence. So if I leave it with you, Craig.
Instead of doing the cross, the hook, uppercut and so forth, I've been doing it so long. I went to a couple of seminars with John Skillen, seen him doing an open palm, to which I thought, you know, there might be something to it. And the idea was just to cover the whole side of the face, achieving a knockout just a little bit quicker. So what we're going to do, partner up, and from your right hand, left leg forward, same way as you're throwing a hook. Instead of curving it in, what we're going to do is keep the palm open, spread the fingers so they'll just make contact with the whole of the pad. Right, so we're going to go hips first and just let the arm follow. Okay, so just from there and just follow through. Nice and relaxed, just let it flow and just let the arm recoil afterwards. So just from there and through. And through. And then once you've got the range, just bring it from here, let it come through and just vent it out.
What we're doing here is narrow gate training. Narrow gate training. Where's Mark? What's the quote, Mark?
Go through the narrow gates. Many people are called, but not many people make it. Going through the wide gate is the way to hell.
Yeah.
Going through the narrow gate is the way to life.
So you do difficult things. This is the training we do is narrow gate training. And part of narrow gate training is hunting shadows. And what you're doing today is hunting shadows. You're going towards situations that will trigger shadows. So that's you. Picasso, I'm not. And these are the shadows. That's self one, that's self two. That's you here now, the conscious self. That's God, the universe, unity. Everything you want, you can draw from here. So if you want something in your life, you just visualize it in your mind and you'll bring it into creation. But between self one and self two is shadows. Fear, doubt, guilt, shame, whatever you want to name them, they're just shadows. So we night travel. Well, there's two ways of doing it. We can go out and hunt things down and expose shadows. So if you come to this course and you set yourself up to do this course, what happens? Shadows come out. They say, should we do it? Shouldn't we do it? We're scared of doing it. What will we end up doing? The fear comes out as one of the shadows. So we're exposing the shadows. So you can either hunt the shadows or life situations will force you into posts. You'll hit a post and a shadow will jump out. So, I don't know, you crash your car and, you know, a shadow comes out of fear or doubt or whatever. Or you're running out of money and this terror comes out of not being able to eat or whatever it is. Whatever the life situation is, you get ill, shadows come out, you know. So you either hunt them, which is what we do because we're here, or you allow life situations to jar you and then the shadows will come out. And when the shadows come out, we've either got to put them to work. Like I said, if we don't put them to work, they wreak havoc, or we've got to dissolve them. What I tend to do is I go into situations that will jar the shadow, a shadow will come out, and I'll see the shadow as separate from me. Do you ever have the voices in your head saying, should we do this, should we do that? You're walking around, there's a voice singing, singing songs, telling jokes. There's something talking in your head all the time. They're parts of your shadow. What we need to do is we need to create a unity and bring these shadows out. So what I do is I observe the shadow. I will listen to it. I won't engage it. I won't talk to it. I'll just observe it. And when you read The Power of Now, and that's next month's homework, he calls it the pain body. And the shadow is part of the pain body. It's a part of you that's trapped. It's the 10-year-old kid that's terrified of confrontation, or it's the 15-year-old that has low self-esteem, or it's the 20-year-old that got dumped and is frightened of abandonment. They're all there. So what we need to do is bring these shadows out. Again, you can sit and wait for them, and they will come because they will force themselves out because they need voices. They need to speak. And if we don't bring them out, they create stress and havoc on the internal body. So we start, it creates adrenaline, and it starts causing, this internal jihad, this internal war, because the stress kind of attacks all the smooth internal muscles, if that makes sense. So we need to clear these out. We want to get unity between ourselves and God, and if we want to be happy, and we want to be successful, and we want to be fulfilled, we need to get rid of the shadows. When we did the first session and I made you sit in the fear, and I made you observe the fear, that is separating yourself from the shadow. So Eckhart Tolle, when he had his first epiphany, he recognised when he was having a breakdown, he said to himself, I can't live with myself. And then he thought to himself, well, which is the self that I can't live with? And he recognised that he was separate from another part of himself, which they call the ego. And there's several voices there. So he started to just observe them. If you feed the story, we know it's got a story. If the shadow jumps out in front of you and says, we're scared, and you feed that story, then that shadow gets bigger and bigger. So you're feeding the shadow. What we need to do is starve the shadow, and we need to dissolve the shadow. That takes a lot of courage because it means sitting in the shadow. It means sitting like here and observing it. Now, if you was at the dinner table and there's a guy next to you and you said to him, I'm going to get an Oscar, and he said, who the fuck do you think you are? You're fucking nothing. Who are you? You're just a cunt. You can't do that. You're just a normal bloke. People like us don't do that. You've got no chance of doing that. You wouldn't sit with a guy like that, would you? And yet we have a voice in our head doing that to us all the time. There is a voice there quietly talking away all the time about who do you think you are? You're stupid. That was a stupid thing to do. I can't believe you're there again. I can't believe what a wanker you are. These voices are here. These are our shadows. When we go to the judo contests, shadow comes forward. That's why the judo contest is the only place to be, because that's where your shadow is. You go to the judo contest, that's you night travelling. You go there, you know the shadow will come out. The moment he comes out, sit and observe him and watch him dissolve. He will dissolve. The only reason I want to win an Oscar is so that I can bring these shadows out. Because I know by placing myself on that forum, on that global forum, I'm going to open myself up to world critique, and that will bring out all my shadows. And when they come out, I'll dissolve them. And I'll dissolve them with love. I won't kill them. I'll dissolve them. They will just go to the next level. So does that make sense so far? So the thing to do is when I give you a book to read, it will jar a shadow. It will excite you as well. It will bring out, it will connect you with, when you connect with the self too, that excitement, you think, I could do that. That self too. I could do all that. And then the shadow jumps in and says, no, but you can't. And you're scared of doing that. And don't forget you've got low self-esteem, and don't forget that you're not actually very good. And don't forget that, they told you at school you were shit. And don't forget you're a piece of shit because that guy abused you, and you can't be worth anything if he abused you. If you look at someone like Patricia Cornwall, her life is full of shadows from abuses that she's had in her life. And what she's done, she's taken all them and she's created a $100 million fortune with her shadows. Shall I say that again? She created a $100 million fortune, not despite her shadows, but by throwing a pail into the shadows and using it as energy. She says, I kill my mother-in-law in every book I write, because she had, she had a really abusive stepmother. So every time she writes something, she brings that through, and one of her characters will do something, or that character will come through. So she brings all the shadows together, she brings all the energy, and she creates stuff. And because she creates stuff with this raw, beautiful energy, people who pick up the books say, I know that energy, because I've fucking got that. So they want to touch the hand of experience. They want to find out how to release those. That's what this is all about. We don't allow possession. Because if the shadow comes up, you know how it does, it comes up and it says, fear, and we go, fucking hell, I am scared. No, you're not scared, you are experiencing a shadow. And you can observe the shadow. That takes bollocks, which is difficult if you're a girl, but it takes courage. So you observe the shadow and you allow it to dissolve. You need to sit in that. And the best way to do that is to expose yourself to it. So if your bag is that you don't like judo contests, or in my case I didn't like karate contests, go to as many as you can. Sit there, bring the shadow out till there's no shadow. If you're frightened of flying, get on a plane or see yourself in a plane until the shadow's gone. If it's confrontation, stick yourself on a nightclub door and watch the shadows fucking all over the shop. We should not be here. And you will have to deal with it, you'll have to do it. And you can do it with gradual increments, or you can just jump in the deep end. Everybody's a little bit different. For me, I'm not saying that you should or you shouldn't, I'm just saying this is how I did it. If you allow possession, it means the energy comes up and you find yourself doing what you shouldn't be doing, whatever that is, taking drugs, porn, excesses, you know, whatever it is that shadow wants to do to feed itself, you know, that's what it will aim to do. And what you need to do is when the shadow comes out is observe it. Don't allow it to possess you, because if it possesses you, you are the shadow. It's that old part of yourself taking over, and suddenly you're not, you know, a 48-year-old sixth dan karate guy. You're a 10-year-old guy who's frightened of everything, frightened of living. You see what I mean? Because that's the shadow. So what I have to do is separate myself from the shadow and say, I understand that's a shadow. It's neither bad nor good, it's just a shadow, and I'm going to dissolve it. And that's what happens. I did a book signing once, and very interesting. It was a funny feeling on this book signing, but right at the end, just as I was finishing, somebody, a drunk had come in, and he'd sat down, and he says, "Who are you?" And you know what, I didn't know who I was. And I looked at him and I said, well, right in the middle of this, I said, well, I'm Geoff Thompson. And I found my voice going quieter, because he'd hit a shadow, because I couldn't quite identify who I was. And he goes, "Who are you?" And I said, well, who are you? And he goes, "No, I'm asking you, who are you?" And I didn't know what to say. And suddenly, the shadow that come forward, which was the part of me that didn't know who I was, came forward and was terrified and fucking jumped out, didn't want to be there, and dissolved. And the big self come through, and I walked through the crowd, and I knelt in front of this guy and held his face, and I said to him, "What's wrong?" And he goes, "Nothing." And he saw God through me, and I said, "What's wrong?" He says, "Nothing." And I kissed him, and I said, "Then, you know, let's just get on with the meeting then." And that was it. And as I walked away, he said, "So who are you?" And I gave him a book. He said, "That's the way, I'll have a read of that." But that was the shadow dissolved, the true self come through, and the true self was so powerful that the rest of the room disappeared. There was nobody in that room. When I walked over to this guy, I said to my friend June, Glenn's mother-in-law, I said, I didn't know what to do. And she said, "But you did know what to do. The shadow didn't know what to do, but you knew what to do. You came forward, and this part of you is so powerful, it dissolves everything." There was nobody else in the room. Nobody. They all disappeared. There was just me and this beautiful alcoholic. He was beautiful. And I'm grateful to him because he brought out a shadow. Because he brought out a part of me that said, I don't know who the fuck I am. He didn't know who the fuck he was, nor did he. And he asked him, and he said, I ain't got a fucking clue. So let's get out. But he knew who he was. Again, this is not about morals or ethics or anything like that. This is about self-defense against the self. And all these selves are fucking us up because they want all these things and they want to rationalise them. But none of us are stupid. None of us are stupid. We all know what's right and wrong. We all know what works and what doesn't work. And if we're not sure, then we should ask. From here, we should sit down quietly and ask him, is this right or wrong? And you'll get an answer. You'll get a clear answer. But be careful when you ask, because last time I asked, my car crashed. I wrecked my Jag. I hit a post. And when I hit this post, all these fucking, very interesting, this very confident man driving the car, it was like my vanity crash. I was driving along, someone was looking at my car and I just went, yeah, it's my car. Crash! Like that. And this shadow that jumped out, didn't want to write, didn't want to make films, didn't want to do masterclasses, didn't want to go and do talks, didn't want to be out in the public eye, didn't want to release any more books, wanted to go and buy a tea shop by the sea and be anonymous. So when I asked God for a sign, I was drifting on certain subjects, certain things. I said, can you give me a sign? He gave me a sign and he hit the post. And I still haven't got my car back. My car's been gone for 5 weeks because he's saying to me, have you got the point? I said, I've got the point. Dear God, I want a sign, but let me tell you, please don't crash my car. Don't give me cancer. I'm going to give a big list of things that I don't want. But you ask for a sign and you'll get a sign. And the sign will jar you. And when you jar, the shadow will come out and then you can dissolve the shadow. I had a week of sitting with this shadow. Because the fear I experienced from this crash was massively disproportionate to the crash itself, because the crash was nothing, nobody was hurt. I just hit a post. I imagine this post was just waiting there like that. Here he comes, here he comes. When he comes through here, we're just going to go like that. So I'm just driving along like that, and it just goes woof like that. And I'm going crash. It was like I fucking fell off a high bridge with this car. But it really jarred me, and all this stuff came out. So it was a wonderful experience. But if you want to do the roomy thing, which you are doing, go out there and start doing things that will force the shadow out. And that's the way you're going to get exactly where you want with your life. So we're going to be loose. We're going to take what we've just done, the looseness, and just really relax with a left hook, just a left hook. Here. Notice I'm getting relaxed and bouncing. Here. Not trying. Yes. And then with the right. Okay, build it up, let it find its own way, but be relaxed. Okay, thanks. Have a go. Like we said before, you need to be in a room full of people and they're better protected because you're there. Mostly because they're protected against you. If you're unsure about techniques and you're unsure about your ability, you're always going to be getting into fights. So it's getting yourself so good that you don't need to do that. If you get a chance to watch something like The West Wing, has anyone seen The West Wing? It's an American program about the president, but it's just good. It's just good to observe the program and watch the president. Obviously it's a series, it's fictional, but it's based on true things that have happened. But if you watch this president, how tempered he is, how powerful he is, and all he does is he's got lots of people around him that he orchestrates, that he delegates to. But he has a very powerful presence, and that very powerful presence did not come from a pillow or from a bed. It came from placing himself under responsibility. He placed himself under responsibility and took it on his back, and that's what grows you. Responsibility is being here, doing things that are difficult. Responsibility is going out and serving. Responsibility is doing the things that are difficult to do and not doing the things that are easy to do. The more responsibility you take on, the more you're going to grow. But if you just stay where you are, you'll actually atrophy, you'll start to shrink. When my brother was dying, his world shrank to his kitchen. My brother was frightened to leave the kitchen in the end because he allowed his shadows to get so big. He's a very beautiful man, a great man, but I watched his world shrink till in the end it was a struggle for him to negotiate between the kitchen and the bedroom. It was really difficult. He was terrified to leave. Started that he didn't want to leave Coventry Then he didn't want to leave Bell Green. Then he didn't want to leave Bell Green Square. Then he didn't want to leave his block of flats. Then he didn't want to leave his flat. Then he didn't want to leave his kitchen. And then eventually, you know, he shrunk down to nothing. And that's what will happen if we just sit still. That's what will happen. Okay, so with your partner, be ready. I'm going to punch and count you in. So we're going to do 20, and then we're going to swap. Choose any punch you want, right cross, left hook. Choose a favourite punch, do it from a small fence, keep it relaxed. To get more power, you need to be more relaxed. So if I ask you, when I'm bringing on the more power, don't get tense, just be more relaxed, just let it come through a little bit quicker. Keep relaxed. We're not working in fractions here. We need to be hitting, is everyone listening, please? We need to be hitting 100% every time. If you're going to use this physically, you need to commit yourself. You might only have one shot at it. And it's the same with what you're doing in your life, with your relationships, with your business, with your spirituality. We need to be preemptive and we need to be committed. Not 60 or 70% because it won't cut it. We need to be doing everything every time. You need to be trying hitting it right every time. Everything you've got, every single time. Don't pace yourself. You've only got one shot. Is everyone ready? In with my count. Keep the count. I'll do a crosser, yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Last 10. Ready? Ready? 1. More. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, swap. Last 10. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Thank you, everybody. Brilliant. Okay.